How much money is enough money? It's an interesting topic that we will explore in this video, and it's something that is problematic, especially when it comes to business. And here's why. I personally believe that there's a lot of people out there that are more financially successful than you might think you are. And the reason is, one definition of financially successful that I like to use is that you no longer have money, making money, finances dominating your thoughts in every given moment. You have some level of peace that your savings or nest egg or investments or revenue that you're making in your business or income from a job is more than enough to cover your monthly expenses, and you don't have to worry so much about what will happen if you don't hit your sales targets this month. And that would be a level of financial success at the minimum to aim for. But the question is that how much is enough? And the reason why I'm thinking about this is I recently sent an email to a friend who has a business, and he was on about some strategy that he wanted to do, and I mentioned to him what my hypothesis was, and that entrepreneurs, especially Christian entrepreneurs, are trying to find more meaning and purpose in what they do once they've achieved financial success in their business, and that is what leads to burnout, disillusionment, disconnect with who you are here, and naturally leads to more problems in the future, specifically problems in developing in your inner self of who you are as a person, because it's inconsistent with who you are and who you know you are and what you're doing on the outside. And his response was that he's not sure if that's he's not sure that if that's a real thing, and if it is, that he's not sure that any of the people that he knows would fall into that category. And it kind of got me thinking a little bit, because, well, you don't have to be a high net worth individual to have financial success, and you kind of just, financial success in a succinct way is you're no longer a slave to money, is what it would be, in one way to view it. And I was just a bit surprised by his response, because in his business he was telling me about how he recently ran an affiliate program and he made a certain amount of money, and how he's made this money and how he's made that money and whatnot. So I don't think he's necessarily sort of concerned about cash flow as such per month. And there's a lot of other people as well that I know of in my network that are in similar situations, and after speaking to different people and through observation, the general observation is that quote, people would be too busy to want to talk about things like that, or another one would be that people are just trying to figure things out for themselves and trying to make things work, or another quote would be, things I'm still trying to make this internet marketing thing work. And these are more the responses that I've kind of had by exploring the concept of that when you achieve some level of financial success and you've achieved your Maslow's hierarchy of needs of food and shelter and financial security, that's when you start to look for the meaning and purpose, and then you don't necessarily find meaning and purpose in your next revenue goal. And it caused me a little bit of disillusionment myself, because I'm kind of, the responses that I'm getting are not what I expected. And I think, just thinking out loud here, I think the reason is it really is down to the question of this video of how much is enough. What is the finish line when it comes to financial targets and financial success. Because you can only, because one thing that I've noticed is that, and this happened to me, is you say, when I make this much money, this is what I'm going to do with it. But then you make that much money, but you never do what you say you're going to do with it. Instead, you're more predisposed to hoarding the money and being more greedy and being less generous with it. Because we fear of losing what we already have and what we've already kind of gained. We don't want to lose what we've had. We become a slave to the money that we've already have and the income that we're having. And I think a lot of people may have some kind of financial security, but they don't necessarily realize it, and they are living in a life which they would have described as a perfect life at some point earlier in their lives, and they've achieved what they wanted to do. But because they're just chasing the horizon all the time, it basically means that they move in the finish line all the time. And this is the problem when it comes to chasing money, because if you're always after financial goals, you can never have enough. And the more that you do make, the more anxious you are, and the more stressed out, I guess, because you're scared of losing what you've had. So my question to you, if anyone's listening or watching, which doesn't really matter at the moment to me either way, would be, how much is it that you want to make per year, per month? And if that's enough, why don't you set yourself a target of achieving that, what you know to be enough, and then you can start to use your business to have impact in the way that you may want to, and you can then actually use your business and do things in your lives to actually make a bigger impact on the world around you, rather than being at risk of treating humans and everyone that you interact with as a transaction and a commodity, which contributes to the misalignment between who you are in your heart and what you want to do and what you're doing on the outside. So the question would be, is that how much is enough? And then if you want to increase your revenue beyond that, what are you going to do with it to make it, to use it for bigger impact? Okay, that's all. See you next time.